The Winter Wonderland shoot, I really wanted to do one this winter because it's just kind of fun, it's a bit different. I like the idea of keeping everything white and high key, and the editing process I wanted to be quite interesting. So I think I've given myself a bit of a challenge with all the string and things like that. So I noted down some ideas for the development of it and what I wanted and what I didn't want, and sketched some poses and things like that. Through that, I went on to research other images that are kind of similar. I looked up kind of Winter Wonderland themed things, and then for that I kind of came up with my final idea and tried to put it together, and hopefully it works. I think the first basic lighting studio setup is the high key setup, which is quite bright, white background, 4 softbox lights, and try to keep as less shadows as possible. And once you've did that, that's the beginning. And kind of go from that really. I'm using just a 1 softbox as a sort of fill light, because without a full softbox on, it'll be way too dark. With just the fairy lights on and then the backlight, I'm also going to be putting a blue gel on at this side to keep it a bit more blue and funky. Hello.
Hello. I'm just on my way, by the way. I'm just going to help down now. My mum's dropping me off.
Okie dokie, cool. I'll see you soon. You should always communicate with your subject when shooting because it keeps them relaxed. And I find I like to show the photos as I'm taking them to relax them, so they're like, oh, that is looking nice. And then they get more into it, and the more relaxed they are, then the better the photo's going to be. Because if they're all tense and terrified, it's going to show in the photo. It's not going to make a nice photo. So just keep it as comfortable and fun as possible, and then you'll end up with some comfortable and fun photos. Yeah, Photoshop's going really well. I've gotten good results with the lighting. And the fairy lights are a really, really good idea. They're quite funky, they're a bit more different to just making it a bit more brighter and funner as well. When you're on location, obviously the lighting is a bit more difficult to control than in the studio. With the studio you have your typical lights which you can control the settings of. When I go on location, I usually take my first camera, which is a Nikon D80, and then I've got my secondary camera just in case anything happens to my first one, which is a Nikon D80. As well as that, I take my telephoto lens, just in case I need it, as well as filters, slide filters, which are quite good for if you're doing nice landscapes or anything, as well as my flash gun, which is what you'd mostly use, and I use that with an extension wire. It just goes on the top so you can hold it away, which we'll see when because I'm going to use that later. Essential wee things that I usually like to take with me as well. Small reflector, it's teeny but it can come in useful. A little wipe for your lens in case it gets drizzly. Just try and think of everything before you get out there, because then even you can do all the research in the world to get out there and it rains and you need to come up with something else. But you're as well having a plan to begin with. Well, today's weather conditions are not really suited for the location shoot, so we're going to move it indoors to another location, just so it's a bit more drier. Okay, I'm just locking up to leave to go on the location shoot. I've packed away all my camera and that, and all my other equipment in my little bag, and I'm carrying my reflector and white umbrella. Natural light's really good for on location shoots. We get quite interesting light, I think, in Scotland. Like winter lighting can be quite dramatic and stuff like that. quite interesting. I'm going to take in, after the editing, after the photos and the editing process, I'm going to take out the top windows in all my shots and the fire exit sign and the fire bell, as well as a little circle and things. I'll repaint that back wall. You're out of college, you think, right, I've did my studies, I can get a job, but it's a lot more difficult than you'd think. I think the industry's difficult. People expect things for nothing and they think it's just taking a photo and it costs nothing and that's it, where it really doesn't. Okay, last one. I typically do just silly wee things that people wouldn't even notice, like a wee spot or a little blemish or just lighting somebody at somebody's eyes or just something kind of silly. Depends what sort of photos you're wanting. I want these to be quite simple. I want the background to be very simple and I want the green to be quite perfect as well. So it's quite block colours as well as the kind of linear effect as well. So I'm wanting it to be quite perfect, so I'm going to edit it so it is quite block colour, simple. But sometimes you want all the impurities and things like that in as well. Advice to other photographers, inspiring, work hard and stick at it, really. Be creative, always experiment. Never get to the point where you're like, oh, that's me done, I've stopped learning, because you're never going to stop learning. You keep learning, you keep doing things, you keep coming up with ideas. Once you get to the point where you stop and think that's you learnt everything, you might as well stop taking photos.